Good day, I'm Leslie Hudson and you are watching Mocha Chocolate Mondays, just a cup of inspiration to jumpstart your week. This week I am interviewing breast cancer survivors, telling their stories, and today I have two very special guests. They happen to be sisters, that's right. They are my best friends and I've known them for a while and love them to life. I can't wait for you to hear their stories.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. When you wake up in the morning and you need a little boost, Leslie Hudson has a cup of inspiration just for you. What an awesome way to start your day on Mocha Chocolate Mondays. On Mocha Chocolate Mondays.
My special guest today is Deborah Tyson and Darlene Lackey, sisters. Welcome so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for deciding to come and hang out with me and tell your story.
Yes, absolutely.
So Darlene, Deborah, I've known you guys for a long time.
Yes.
Yes. And I see you guys have your pink on, and we know that we are in the month of October and we see pink everywhere, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Everywhere. So Darlene, let's start with, let's give us a little background. First of all, where are you guys from?
Okay, I'm a native Atlantan, born and raised. I've lived here all my life. I did go to college a little bit in Texas, but I'm a native Atlantan.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It's hard and it's very rare to find people who are born and raised in Atlanta. Yes, it is, but you guys have been here for a while. So, Darlene, tell me a little bit about your story and when you were first diagnosed with breast cancer. How did you know?
Okay, sure. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in September of 2007. It's still pretty, I get still pretty emotional. Before I knew that I had breast cancer, I was having some issues with my stomach. And I didn't know what was going on. And so I actually drove myself to the hospital.
Oh.
It was on Labor Day.
Labor Day, okay.
Labor Day. I drove myself to the hospital. And come to find out that I was having problems with my gallbladder.
Okay.
So that's how they found, well, it was just by the grace of God. When they did the testing for my gallbladder, the technician, she went all the way up and started to feel my breasts. And so it came back where, okay, yes, we know that you have a problem with the, your gallbladder is going to need to come out. But we see a lump in your breast. And so I thought, oh, my goodness, no. I didn't understand. I didn't know what was happening then. So after that, the gallbladder, that was important to get that taken care of too. But the other main thing was let's focus on what this lump is.
Okay.
So I went to my primary physician and she did her course of everything, and she sent me out to a breast cancer surgeon.
Okay.
And so from there it started with having the biopsy and so forth, just to make sure to see what stage I was in and everything. So when that was done, when the biopsy came back, it came back positive that I did have breast cancer, and I was at stage 4, and it was called stage 4 ductal carcinoma, estrogen receptive breast cancer.
Okay.
So there we are. That was a lot.
Ductal carcinoma.
That was a lot. And so at first I just felt numb. I really felt numb. And I was at the doctor. I'm trying to think back. I know my sister went with me. She was on this journey with me the whole time, but I'm trying to remember, was she with me at the time when I was at the doctor's office? But I do remember later on that evening we got together and we had to call the family. We called my husband
Okay.
and my brothers and everything. My sister already knew. And so we never had a pity party. We were just going to,
Right.
we accepted that, and we know that God is present in our life.
In control.
We are and in control. So I never wavered, nor did I even ask why. I just said,
But I have, while she's composing, I have this little part I have to put in there. When my sister and I were walking in the doctor's office, of course I look like I'm the older sister, right? But the nurse said, okay, Miss Darlene, come on back with your mom. And I said, my mom? And I turned
No, they did
around.
not.
We lost my mom in 1999. So I knew mom wasn't here, but you know
Right.
what? When we look back at it, we think mom was with us that day.
right.
Wow. That's a story. Now tell me this, was breast cancer in the family?
Yes,
Okay.
We had our great aunt
yes.
who we never knew about. This was when I was in high school, when she had a total mastectomy. We didn't
Wasn't
know
even
anything
spoken.
about. No, this was in
No.
the 70s, beginning of the 70s,
Okay.
and we didn't remember her going through any other treatments other than just having a total mastectomy. That was it
Okay.
back at that time.
I know that you went into the hospital for your gallbladder. You were diagnosed, they saw the lump
Yes.
at that moment. And there was a history of breast cancer in the family. Were you used to doing breast care self-exam?
Oh, yes.
So you guys were doing it anyway?
Very much so.
Very much so.
Okay, okay. All right.
And going back to to my story, so when I did have the lumpectomy, they took my gallbladder out and the lump out of my breast all in the same day.
Really?
I had the surgeries at the same time. They did the gallbladder first and then the breast surgery second.
Okay. Now, did you have to go through any other type of treatment? Since it was impossible, did you go through having to take the tamoxifen or anything like that? Or
There was something called this Occutype test, very expensive test, but it determined whether or not if you were more susceptible to having to take chemotherapy.
okay,
So when they looked at all of your, what is the word I'm looking for? All of your, I can't remember the word. It came back where, no, I didn't have to take chemotherapy.
Okay.
But I was going to have radiation. So I
Okay.
did have 16 weeks of radiation. And then I developed, maybe I was in my radiation regimen about a month, and I developed a really bad infection. I mean, it was like a deep hole where that lump was. So they had to stop the radiation completely, let that heal, and then I had to, start the radiation treatment over again.
Okay.
So in all, I think it was like 16 weeks. I was a little over 16 weeks, Monday through Friday,
Okay.
going to radiation.
So what a journey. Deborah, we're going to switch over to you. So you recently,
Yes, very recent, to the point of it's still fresh. I went, and I would get my mammogram every, year. My gynecologist was doing everything. I thought I was doing all the right things. And so one night I woke up and I was like in a puddle of liquid. Don't know why, but it was liquid. So it was time for me to go get my annual. So when I went and I told her, I said, I don't know what's going on, but my breast is leaking. And she said, it's probably just, your ducts. Did you hit yourself? Did you do this? Did you do that? And I said, no, I haven't hit myself or anything. She said, I'm going to send you down here and let her take a sample of this liquid. I said, okay. I went down. She took the sample. You talking about something that hurt? Yes, pain. But I did it. So it came back that I needed to go and have an extensive mammogram, okay?
Okay.
And that's the one, I think it's the 3D mammogram.
Right.
So they did it, and she said it's in the left breast.
So with the liquid, you went to the doctor and they wanted to sample it. Did they do an aspiration? Did they do a biopsy day or?
Yes, she did all of that.
Oh, wow.
She did all of that. Like I said, I just thought, you know, just like she said, it was just something going on with my ducts. Never cancer. That was the father's thing. But then when I did my biopsy and everything, it came back, I was 0, meaning it was so new that it wasn't even on the scale yet.
Early detection.
Exactly. So I called my sister, you know, we had our little, it's gonna be okay, you know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You know,
I've gone through this.
you've done this. You've done this. I've done this before.
Right.
You know, just take your notes. Make sure you know what she's talking about. And if you don't know, then call me. And I said, okay. So I ended up going to my surgeon, and she said, it's got to come off. Not like some people just take the lump out. She said we have to, I think it's called a total mastectomy. And she said, you have the disease, meaning the whole breast is infected. And I said, what does that mean? I said, can it travel, you know, to other parts of my body? You know, I'm asking a million questions.
Right, as you should.
And so she said, well, I'm not going to tell you to take both breasts off. I'm not going to tell you to keep both breasts on. She said, but the left has to go. So I prayed about it, talked to my sister about it, talked to my husband about it. My daughter is a nurse, talked to my son. They said, Mom, you make that decision. I talked to my physician. He said, don't get hung up on how you look. Get hung up on living.
Right.
So if that's going to make you live longer, take them off. You know, he said, but I can't tell you what to do. So when I went back to see her, I told her I was going to have them both removed. So that's what I did.
Okay.
But that was the first of my nightmare. Okay? And it was a nightmare. I got them removed, and I'll never forget it. It was on my birthday. I was in the hospital on my birthday. Went home, wasn't feeling well. My leg was hurting. Remember I told you about Mike with Pastor O'Neill. Leg was hurting, didn't know what it was. I kept doing my exercises. Lord, please make this pain stop. My daughter-in-law, because you know, my son's been married several times. I don't consider them as exes. So
They're still family.
she came up and she was taking care of me and everything. Long story, short story. I got to the point where I couldn't breathe. So I said, let me get my nebulizer and maybe it's just my lungs, whatever. I did all of that, just trying to self-medicate. My husband looked at me, he said, you need to call your doctor again. By that time, my oldest brother called and he said, Deborah, if you can't breathe, you get out of there.
Absolutely.
No uncertainty. You need to get out of there. So when my brother said that, my husband got in the car. He has the big Dodge Ram. And I got in the car, can't breathe, couldn't do nothing. And because that truck, when he was going so fast, it was bouncing. Leslie, that's the only thing that saved my life. I was getting ready to have a pulmonary embolism.
Oh my.
And said, if I hadn't kept jumping up and down, it would have kept traveling. So the up and down made it just, okay, what am I supposed to do next? You know,
Right.
we got to the hospital and my daughter, Cora, she was taking no for no answers. You know, she was like, y'all come see about her right now.
Right
She's
now,
very demanding. And she came and they put this big mask. I don't know what it was, but only thing I can remember, y'all, I couldn't breathe.
Right.
until I got this thing on.
On your face.
So this was after the mastectomy,
Yes.
and you developed the blood clot in your leg.
So I was bouncing in the truck, and I went to the hospital, and I, like my sister, had a really bad infection. Ended up having to have wound care, you know, and that's where they put the machine on you that pulls everything out. That makes you crazy because everywhere you go, you got to carry this big monstrosity. But through it all, my sister was always there, you know, and the day before I was going to have my surgery, I have to tell y'all this. She and my nephew Jeff came over with balloons and a flower and everything. So I knew I was going to be okay.
Absolutely.
No matter what. Because Jeffrey even drew me a picture, said, it's going to be okay, TT, you know. And I said, yes, it is.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I didn't know I was going to go through all of that.
All of that, right?
Right. But God was there working it
Every
out
step.
every step of the way.
And still going through it. I have not had that final thing. They told me just last Thursday that I need to be on this blood thinner another, you know, be on it for 6 months before they can tell me what to do. So I would tell anybody that's going through this, tell your doctor everything, not some things, but everything. I don't care how minute it may be. Tell them, you know.
Absolutely. Right. And you were there for her as you were there for her.
Absolutely.
yes.
Yes.
14 years ago.
Oh yeah, I was taking her dinner one night, and just like my
Right.
sister got lost today,
Totally lost.
I woke up. I looked up. I said, "Darlene, I don't know where I am." You know, because I had bought. Remember, Darlene, I bought you a spread and something else for your bed, and I had cooked dinner. She wanted some turnips. I had made turnips and stuff, and I was taking her
roast.
dinner, and I was so lost. So when she called me today and frantic, I didn't want to know all that. I just need to go get my sister.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You ladies look beautiful.
Thank
You know,
you.
people I'm sure tell you don't look nothing like what you've been through.
No.
And God is so good. He really is. You
Yes,
know,
he is.
to have both of you here, 14 years, 1 year now on your journey. So when you were first diagnosed, stage 0, what can we talk about and how can we encourage other women to, you know, about breast cancer? I mean, early detection was the key.
What's the key?
Oh yes.
And I know that was the key for me.
Right.
You know?
Right. Because, you know, you never expect, I mean, because it was, my lump was like the size of just maybe a sweet pea or something. But the thing that really was the game changer is because it had spread it into my lymph node.
Lymph nodes. It was stage 4.
And so when they removed 26 lymph nodes, and you only have 32 in your under your arm, but they removed 26. So I always remember that number of 26. But through it all, I had reconstruction back in 2015.
Okay. So you waited a while.
So I waited a while. I just wasn't ready, even though my surgeon had suggested it, you know, a few years prior to. But I said, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Right.
It wasn't a thing where I felt like I was feeling less than a woman because of how that breast looked after the surgery. I didn't care about that. But I know that afterwards, you know, it did make me feel better, but it was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
Yes, it was.
It was okay. So when I decided that it was time, that's when I did it.
Okay.
2015.
Hallelujah, praise.
And I have to say that my sister's been there, but my husband and my children have been there. You know what I mean, Leslie?
And
Yes.
And you need a support unit. You know, you need that. And if you don't have that, then call me. I'll be your support unit. You know what I mean? I will be
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because-
That's how we met Leslie.
there. That's exactly how we met
That's how
her.
we became best friends.
That's right.
right.
Best friends, absolutely.
friends,
You
you
guys
know?
were there. Mhm.
Yes,
Absolutely.
And Leslie and I, we used to go on the different. I guess we can call it the breast cancer circuits, where we were going to everything. Every time they had
Yes.
something that said, "Oh, you're invited."
We were there in the city, everywhere.
In the city,
right?
everywhere.
We were.
We were.
And y'all
And
would bring me back something that y'all had. You know, I have a muffin thing and an apron.
So
Thank you.
Leslie, she did a lot of encouraging because she went through it before I did. So she could tell me some of the things that I went through, and then I could tell my sister some of the things that I went through.
Absolutely.
So it has just come back around.
And we all in.
And we're all in this together. Yeah.
Absolutely, and we support one another. And that's what it's
Exactly.
all about.
Exactly.
Even when you have those moments, you know, I had another interview and she talked about the aftermath, because there is the aftermath. You know, you go through the surgery, you go through chemo, the radiation, and it can be years later, and you
Yes.
still have that moment of after that aftermath.
Exactly.
But you just got to keep believing and trusting God.
And trusting God. Mhm.
Absolutely.
We are survivors. We're strong.
Yes, we are.
We never gave up. There's hope. There's hope for the survivors. I know that the treatments now from 2006 to now, that has changed a lot. There are a lot of things
Tremendously.
that are totally different, you know, from when Leslie went through her journey, when I went through my journey, and even now that my sister is still going through her journey. So we never stop learning. You never stop learning more about the disease, but we just hope that one day in our lifetimes that it will be eradicated, that we won't have any more breast
Absolutely.
cancer.
Absolutely.
We won't have this any longer.
Absolutely. So tell me this, as we get ready to close, what is one thing of advice would you give to other women that are watching this show right now? You know, I know that early detection, you know, for me would be the key. When you feel something, say something, do something, right?
Exactly, right. You want me to go
Sure,
first?
go ahead.
I would, excuse me, I would just say, always be positive. That was kind of the key, my motivation, to always be positive, and not be afraid. You know, some people are afraid when they're going through things, they're afraid to tell their story. I've never been afraid to tell my story, because if I can tell my story to one person and that may help that person, and that person may help someone else, I'm here to tell my story. And so that's important to me, that I tell my story.
Okay.
And I just hope that anybody that if you go through it, you're not alone.
Not alone.
You're not alone.
Never.
Absolutely.
What is that saying? I had breast cancer, but breast cancer didn't have me.
Amen. Amen to that.
Amen. Well, mine would be always have a doctor that you're comfortable with,
That's good.
and that you can tell them anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything. Because a lot of people just go to the doctor just to go to the doctor, but go to the doctor with one that will help all these question marks. You know, just be very open, you know, and just know that there's always, you think you have it bad? It's like, I used to cry because I had no shoes until I saw someone that didn't have feet. You hear what I'm saying?
Right.
So just be very, very, when I say vigil, in knowing your body. Know your body, you know, just know it. You know, I knew something was wrong, and you know, then it made me question myself. Did I bounce myself, you know, in the chest? You know, did I
Hit yourself or something?
do something that was not, you know? So the next thing I did was what? Go to the doctor. Okay, so my advice would be to anybody, if it's not normal, go to the doctor.
All right. One subject that I did not talk about that I want to circle back with is in regards to both of you are married, and both of you were married when you were diagnosed with breast cancer. What effect did that have with your husbands?
With mine, he was very supportive. He didn't care about, whether you have, had to take off the total breast or not, but just support. He was always there,
Okay.
being supportive and everything, and I'm with you. So that was the key, just having that support system for my husband. Exactly.
Well, mine is a funny one, Leslie. I guess y'all think I'm a nut anyway. But here we go again. Deborah's never had any big breasts, okay?
Right.
So it wasn't like my husband lost a lot. You know what I mean? So he was like, wow, you can get a C or a D, you know? I mean, he was happy, you know? Like, and then my son said, yeah, Mom, go ahead and get you a C or D. And I'm like, do y'all realize I'm really sick? And y'all telling me, but they were trying to get my mind in another place.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have to say, between my son and my husband, it was a funny. And my daughter was the one that was grounded, like, y'all need to stop this. Mom is sick. You know what I mean? And she was the steady one. And I mean, she last thing she told us, because they both live in Texas, I'm not coming back down there no more. Every time I looked up, she was in my house. Mm-hmm. Yes. You know what I mean? My daughter took care of myself. She took care of her dad, and she took care of me. Okay. So mine was a funny story because Deborah never. So if y'all see me walking around and y'all see me real straight walking around, y'all know I'm there.
You guys are huge. Thank you so much for coming to tell your story.
Thank you for
having
us.
And I know that you're going to be fine on this journey, just like your sister and I am.
Just continue to pray for me.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And you know that you have all the support right here.
Thank you, Leslie. We love you so much.
I love you. I love you. Well, thank you for joining us on this another special edition of Mocha Chocolate Mondays, where Darlene, Lackey, and Deborah Tyson told their story. Don't forget, tune in next week. And October is a month that that they celebrate and talk about breast cancer, but it is each and every day and moment and second of our life. So early detection is the key. If there's anything that's going on with your body, don't ever forget to, if there's a change or difference, see a doctor. Thanks again for joining Chocolate Mondays.
Yeah, come on, yeah. When you wake up in the morning and you need a little boost, Leslie Hudson has a cup of inspiration just for you. What an awesome way to start your day on Mocha Chocolate Mondays. On Mocha Chocolate Monday.